Hey everyone, I'm Faladrin, one of the official team raiders at Smogan. I've decided to make a guide on team building since that's a specialty of mine. This will also be my first narration of any kind, so you guys get to listen to my super sexy voice for a change. Now, for anyone who hasn't run away yet, I often hear about players who lose battles and have no idea why. They tell me that they didn't make any terrible mistakes, but they still found themselves struggling. Well, one reason may be that their teams weren't adequate enough to keep up with opposing threats. I remember playing someone on Pokemon Online once who had this problem, but didn't know it. On the turn right before he lost, he basically said, "Well, this sucks. I didn't make any mistakes, and I still lost. I'm making you wait out the whole 5 minutes." I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go watch some porn or something. But seriously, team building is really important if you want to be competitive. After viewing and rating well over 100 teams, I've come up with some strategies that I think anyone can follow to success. First of all, it helps to have some resources to use. I always use Smogan's Pokedex to look up different Pokemon sets. The CNC, or General, section of the Smogan forums is also excellent for looking up new and unusual sets to try out. Maryland's Team Builder is probably the most well-known resource, and a very good one at that. However, it only points out type synergy problems, which isn't enough. When I was new, I used to just throw in Pokemon into Maryland's Team Builder that would improve my synergy. The thing is, this approach doesn't work consistently because it completely ignores important aspects such as overall strategy and metagame trends. In general, these resources are useful tools to help you build teams, but you need some kind of defined strategy when it comes to actually creating effective combinations. Here's my approach. Each of the 6 Pokemon on a team serves a specific role. These roles differ depending on the type of team in question, whether it be stall or offense. My example is going to be a little more offensively natured, but the same general concept can be applied to any kind of team. Teams can be split up into 3 different sections, each of which can be built separately, although you do need to make sure you don't have any gaping weaknesses to any particular type. The sections are as follows. Pokemon 1 and 2 are grouped together. These are your leads. Pokemon 3 through 5 form the core of your team. Finally, Pokemon 6 fixes up any remaining weaknesses. We'll now address these groups in detail. As I said before, Pokemon 1 and 2 serve as your leads. This may seem strange, but I recommend having 2 members to perform the lead role effectively. Some people advise leading with your Stealth Rock user, but I usually don't. Pokemon 1's job is to match up favorably with as many opposing leads as possible. On offensive teams like this is usually an anti-lead such as Machamp. However, keep in mind that the competitive Pokemon metagame changes a lot, and for this reason, Machamp is now predictable and no longer effective. On this team, I'm going to lead with Icy Wind Gengar, a fairly unusual but potent lead. Now, what leads does Gengar have problems with? 3 that I can think of are Choice Scarf Jirachi, Tyranitar, and Machamp for anyone still using it. This is where Pokemon 2 comes in. His job is to help Pokemon 1 as well as set up Stealth Rock. In this case, Lumberry Metagross seems like a great fit. Against Jirachi, it can switch into Iron Head and set up Stealth Rock for free, while Jirachi is forced to switch out since it's locked in with Choice Scarf. Metagross can also switch into Tyranitar and threaten to KO with Meteor Mash. Against Machamp, I can send in Metagross on the payback and 2-hit KO with Meteor Mash, while the Lumberry cures Dynamic Punch's confusion. As you can see, Pokemon 1 and 2 attempt to put pressure on opponents while setting up Stealth Rock in the process. Now let's move on to Pokemon 3 through 5, otherwise known as the core of the team. The core's job is to weaken the opponent so that one member may hopefully sweep through, as well as provide safe switch-ins to most opposing threats. In the current metagame, Fire Water Grass cores are excellent and safe to use, so I'll be using one of those on this team. Other cores can also work, but this is the best option for newer players. Well, Heatran is definitely the best choice for a fire type, seeing as Infernape can't really take attacks. I'll add it in as Pokemon 3. A standard Shuka Berry set should be sufficient. Suicune seems like a great choice for Pokemon 4, seeing as it has plenty of bulk as well as offensive firepower. Finally, Shaman sounds good for Pokemon 5 because it's cute and powerful. Instead of using the standard Life Orb set, though, I think I'll roll with Leech Seed plus Protect. So now the core is finished. This core does a great job of supporting each member in hopes of achieving a sweep. Heatran lures in opposing water types for Shaman to set up on. Suicune draws in grass types for Heatran to come in on. Shaman, in turn, causes opposing fire types to switch in so that Suicune can come in and set up some Calm Mind boosts. It also heals the entire team with Leech Seed, making the core even harder to take down. Each member of the core happens to be a special attacker, which should mean that it's walled by special walls such as Snorlax or Blissey. However, Heatran has Explosion to take out walls so that the other members can sweep through. Shaman also has Leech Seed, so Blissey just ends up being a giant health source for it. Although no core is unbeatable, this happens to be a very good one. It's up to the next and final team member to patch up any remaining weaknesses. Pokemon 6 is what many like to call the glue of the team. It's usually a revenge killer, something to take out opposing threats. Although my team is fairly solid thus far, I can see it having problems with Pokemon like Dragonite or Tyranitar, yet they've gotten some Dragon Dance boosts in. Flygon is probably the best revenge killer in the current metagame, but I'm actually going to go with Choice Scarf and Fernape, because it's less common and therefore less predictable. It can easily outspeed and eliminate most threats, and does a good job of revenge killing. Pokemon 6 can also be used to sweep through weakened teams late game, which Infernape can do with close combat. So, the team as a whole consists of Icy Wind Gengar, Lum Metagross, Shuka Heatran, Offensive Suicune, Leech Seed Shaman, and Choice Scarf Infernape. In conclusion, here are a few key points to remember. Establish roles. Organize your team members into specific roles and purposes. Stay in touch with metagame trends so you know what's effective and what's outdated. Use unusual sets. These throw off your opponent and make your playing unpredictable. Aim for about 2 to 3 non-standard sets per team. In this case, I have Icy Wind Gengar, Leech Seed Shaman, and Scarf Infernape, all 3 of which are fairly uncommon. Try to mix common and uncommon sets so that your opponent has trouble figuring out your team. So that concludes today's lesson. I hope you've all managed to learn something today. Just in case you'd like to see the team I built in action, I should be uploading some Wi-Fi battles of me using it in the near future. Until then, good luck everyone.